Okay, welcome in. It is time for Total Bases. It is Wednesday. That means day games all day long, a bunch of afternoon action. So hopefully we can find a couple winners here today. Slow night for me on the bases. I made one play, but it won. It was in AAA. It was with Worcester. They put out a big league lineup. I mean, and it was out there minus 110 for hours and hours. Yet the Worcester Red Sox put up a lineup yesterday, Brian, that looked like it could be a Red Sox lineup in the very near future. So every once in a while, you get blessed with what I consider just an absolute gift, and it won easily. So 1-0 for me on Tuesday. Hope to do it again today. Brian, how was your night?
I went 1-1. Unfortunately, the game I lost was the game I used on this show, the game that I used for my $5 play, and it was never a doubt, unfortunately, as I had Gavin Williams and Cleveland to go under the total in that game, and Williams got lit up early, and we've seen a lot of that lately. We've had a lot of pitchers that are getting blown up early that are really good pitchers, and it just happens. It's a long season. If you do this long enough, you're going to have a couple of those bad outings, and it was yesterday, so I didn't have to sweat my best bet on yesterday's card because it was gone in like the third inning.
Well, Brian, you always preach being disciplined and not taking something if the number doesn't come into your range. And I'd like to applaud myself for being disciplined last night, because if that Angels price went down another 20 cents, I'm probably on Angels plus 1.5, and I'm probably crashing out this morning. So I'm glad I wasn't on that. Tokyo Brandon, thankfully, I guess the Brewers ruined the parlay before that could ruin it, because that would have been a tough way to go there. But aside from that, how did your Tuesday go?
Yeah, I went 1 win and 2 losses, so kind of underwhelming. The 1 win was the Arizona Diamondbacks, so that was kind of a nice win. Thought I was going to go 0-3, which I did not. I have a 5% play up today, so I feel good about it. Love this play. It's one in Major League Baseball, obviously. So hopefully I'll turn it around and win 5% back with this play.
And TB, the time always messes you up because you're at night. Technically, I think you actually probably won yesterday, because the morning, the Asian games go on the next day. So if you had a winning morning, I think you ended up okay.
No, I lost Lotte.
Okay. I mean, listen, that's always
no redemption.
I don't know how you do it. When I'm on the West Coast, I want to go crazy. Like, just a couple hours messes me up. So I don't know if I could survive doing this on the other side of the world.
16-hour difference, pretty rough. Yeah.
Props to both of you, because again, I get the dream time for this show, 9 a.m. Brian's up at 6 a.m. local. TB has to stay up late with us every night. So appreciate the two of you for doing that, because otherwise there wouldn't be a show. So now we've got a chat. I was rambling on as the chat sort of populated, but everyone's here now. So let's get it going. Feature game. It's going to be the same feature game as yesterday. This looks to be in the MLB Network primetime slot tonight. So I do believe the entire country will get this game, Brian, as they should, because the Braves and the Dodgers might very well be a NLCS preview, two of the best teams in baseball. Yesterday, I made a comment, man, you don't get the Braves at this price very often, being able to take the plus 1.5, and they got it done. And guess what? One day of that, and now you're not getting them at that price anymore. So Dodgers Braves to you, very tricky game in my opinion. Do you see any value in this one?
Just a quick note on your thought process when it comes to where you live. After spending half of the time in the Eastern time zone and half the time in the Pacific time zone over the last 2 months, I much prefer the Pacific. I'm an early riser. I like to get things done in the morning, and giving out 5% plays that go 11 or 12 innings on the East Coast is terrible for me, because I can't go to sleep till any of the games go over. or over. So much prefer the earlier starts. But getting back to the baseball game, the Dodgers in Atlanta, Sasaki against Smith-Shawver, getting called back up here. I really like him. I think he's got a pretty bright future for Atlanta. Sasaki's had his ups and downs this year. When he was on, he was really good. But he hasn't been on enough this year, and that's the problem. But at least he's a much better pitcher than he was earlier this season, where I was amazed. No other team other than the Dodgers can afford to keep him in that major league lineup that long. But we're looking at Atlanta the Dodgers about a 125 to 130 favorite here. And we're looking at 8.5 to the over. Pretty decent hitting environment in Atlanta. Obviously, they've got some good bats on both of these teams. But if I'm playing this one and I can get that 8.5 under it, plus 100 or so, which there are some of them out there, I kind of like the under in this. If both these guys come out and shove like they're capable of, I think it goes under. Problem is Sasaki's inconsistency, and Smith-Shawver really hasn't lived up to what he can do. I think he's got a better future in the future, but injuries will do that to you. So, yeah, I'll probably be passing on this one.
Tokyo Brandon, I've lived in the Northeast my whole life. I'll probably live here the rest of my life. And you're gonna think I'm a sick human being, but I can't wait till the cold. I can't wait till it gets cold. I'm so sick of sun. I want no more summer. If I could live in fall for 12 months of the year, I would go to that place, wherever that is. Give me the fall in the Northeast 12 months a year. I'd be the happiest person alive. TB, back to the baseball. Dodgers Braves. How do you see this one?
I was actually just thinking that today as well, because here in Japan, it was about 96 degrees with 62% humidity. Not good. Not good. I'm used to Arizona with 115 and 0% humidity. So yeah, I do have a 5% play up today. And one programming note, we are getting bumped by the college football show. So we're going to be doing this show at this time on Saturdays from now on. They want us to get the audience together so they can get some viewers. So we're going to go first on Saturday at this time. Let's take a look at the Dodgers and the Braves. Smith-Shawver might have some upside, but he hasn't shown it yet. And his expected stats really bad. I got him ranked 25 out of 30 on a scale of 30, but Sasaki not a lot better, got him 16, but still 9 spots higher, not bad. For some reason, my numbers like the Dodgers bullpen, like with my own eyes, like Tanner Scott, that guy is horrible. I mean, my numbers are showing me something that my eyes aren't seeing, because my numbers say LA's bullpen's ranked 6 and Atlanta's is ranked 20, but I'm not sure if I believe that. And also I've got the Dodgers with the hitting advantage here in current form. So it would be Dodgers or nothing for me. People in the chat are saying the same thing. You're rarely going to get this price with the Dodgers. So yeah, it'd be Dodgers or nothing for me. I don't know if I'll play it or not. This is not my 5% play, and it's not my parlay leg either, but that's probably how I would go.
I'll talk about Smith-Shawver for a minute, because again, like, he's kind of someone that I've been interested. Like, I've had on my radar to back. Problem for me here is, I felt like if I was going to bet the Braves in this series, it should have been yesterday. Like, that's, so it's hard to come back with Atlanta today, having not played them yesterday. I felt like this line was actually fair. I feel like a lot of people are going to look at this and just be like, oh, Dodgers value. How can you pass up on the Dodgers that cheap? But again, like, I think Smith-Shawver, if you look, like, he had a relatively long rehab because he started the season on the IL. So this is someone coming back from a pretty devastating injury last year. I think he missed almost the whole season or most of the season. Didn't make his first appearance in the minors until June 30th. But July across different levels of July across different levels of the minors, mostly at AAA, and one start for the Braves, a 1.89 ERA and a 1.26 WHIP. Went back to Gwinnett for 2 starts this month before the Twins start, a 0.98 WHIP and a 151 batting average again. So, it's amazing to me Brian, that Smith Shawver is, I mean, he's still only 23 years old. Like, this was a guy that the Braves have been guilty of this on a couple of occasions. Didier Fuentes is another one that comes to mind, where they just, for whatever reason, wanted to force a 19-year-old to pitch in the big leagues. They did it with Smith Shawver and they did it with Fuentes, and it was honestly probably to the detriment of both of them. But like, man, like I always felt like as he was coming up through the ranks the first time before they did that, way back, you have to go all the way back to 2023 for this guy's major league debut. So yeah, they did bring him up at 19. I thought this guy was going to be a star. He's obviously had some arm injuries, but the way he's thrown the ball since coming back this year, I see like a lot of upside with him. So if you're looking at, I guess you could maybe look at an under in this game if you think Sasaki pitches well as well. Because again, for me, I've wanted to back him, but unfortunately, I think the Braves ruined my spot to do it by winning last night. So I wish I had better. I'll go to Brian. Maybe he can add something there.
Yeah, I just want to stand up for my man Tanner Scott with TB. Yeah, he wasn't very good last year, but he comes into this game tonight. He's got 2.36 ERA, 3.05 expected ERA, 2.34 FIP, 2.86 expected FIP. His strikeout to walk ratio, strikeout minus walked ratio is 25.9. And according to Fangraphs, he's rated as the 10th best pitcher in Major League Baseball this year. So, yeah, last year he stunk, but this year he's put it together. He's not having a bad season.
10 blown saves, by the way.
When you're with the Dodgers.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was 2025. He's got 2 so far this season.
Yeah, so, last year he stunk. This year he's done much better.
I'm at 8.2 for a score projection here. If you can get a 9 for that total, I think under does make some sense. This feels like another competitive game. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a carbon copy of last night's game in some way, shape, or form in that 4-3, 5-3, 4-2 type area. So I'm going to go with an under just to put a bow on this one and actually give something like a thought. I'll go under here.
I will say if you have the Odds Logic line service, there's somebody out there right now that has a 9 under 20, which I think is a pretty good bet, and we may see some 9s. But that's one of the advantages of having the Odds Logic site is you're able to see the line moves, you're able to see where they're at, and this is at a very, let's say, square-friendly sports book. I'm not allowed to say what they are, but if you have an account at this place, you would be betting that right now because, that's the best thing about this is where the money's going, and you set up your sheet where your smart books all the way down to your most public books, and you can take advantage of some of these weaker lines, and that's what pro bettors do.
Yeah, Odds Logic is great. But it's up on my screen every day. That's what Brian is using when we're on the show here. Shout out Odds Logic. If you're looking for an screen odds service, probably the most cost effective for like an actual good one, I would say. There's a bunch out there, but for the money, I think Odds Logic makes the most sense.
Yeah, I've talked to the guys in the office, and we're trying to get a discount rate for people who watch the show. So once I get that information and get it to you, we'll save you some money.
Yeah, Ethan gets similar weather to me. I think he's up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So we kind of get similar weather. He knows fall is the best. And we're going to go to his Tigers right here because Richie Batts wants to go ahead on this early game. Yeah, I think this is the first one off the board. On Wednesday afternoon. It'll be the rubber match, Tokyo Brandon. The Rays and the Tigers. Rays took game 1. The Tigers bounced back with a win last night. Looks like Freddie Peralta, Troy Melton, and it looks like it could almost be a fall day there today. They've got some wind, potentially some weather. I think just wind could play a part in this game. So Tigers, Rays to you. How do you see this one?
I was really hoping that the Rays won yesterday, so the Tigers were desperate to get that last game.
Oh, they still are. They still are.
Yeah, But I mean, man, Melton's really good. If you've never heard his name before, watch him. He's really good. Future star. Cover the name, look at the stats, and you would think you're looking at the, Glass now or something, I mean, really good numbers for this young guy. And unfortunately, though, for the Tigers, they're not better than Tampa Bay at much else other than starting pitcher today. But man, he's really good. I think that might be good enough to put them over the hump. I was going to go all in on them today if they had lost yesterday, but they won. So, yeah, I mean, hard to bet against the Rays, but they are in kind of a funk right now. And Melton's a really good pitcher. I've never really liked Freddie Peralta that much. I got him ranked 18 on a curve of 30. Got Melton ranked 3 on a curve of 30. So, starting pitcher, hitting pretty equal between these two teams. I do have the Rays bullpen slightly better, but I think Melton is enough to put them over the top today.
Bryan Leonard, it doesn't get more desperate than being 4.5 out of the wild card on August 26th. I mean, I don't think they needed 2 losses to get them focused on this game. And they're basically a loss or 2 or 3 away from like being completely out of a race that you almost have to try to like get out of at this point. Between their division and the American League wild card, it's almost like impossible to fall out of the race. Yet the Tigers are in, I guess, jeopardy of doing that. Brian, they get the win yesterday to kind of get them back in the mix here. Do you see them taking this series?
Yeah, we're at the point now where there's 132 game played for the Tigers, so that's 30 left in the regular season. They're 4.5 out of the wild card, 7.5 out of winning the division. Yeah, they're desperate. It's now or never for the Detroit Tigers and a lot of these teams as we go on. They're going to have to win probably 70% of their games the rest of the season to be able to make the playoffs. But they can do that. As I pointed out, the run differential, they're plus 73 on the season. The Rays are only plus 44. The Rays have been able to win those close games, and the Tigers have not. Expected win-loss, Tampa Bay's at 71 and 61. Detroit's at 74 and 58. Detroit's only 28 and 36 against teams that play over 500 baseball, and that's the Rays. They're 24 games over 500 right now. That said, yeah, I agree with a lot of what TB was saying in this game. Melton has a 60 game score on the season, which is pretty elite. And he is coming off 2 of his worst 3 starts of the season. He had a 37 at Kansas City, a 42 hosting the Chicago White Sox. I would expect him to bounce back. He got hit pretty last time out against the Royals. His average exit velocity allowed was 92.3. That's as high as any start he's had going back to his first start against Baltimore back in May. So I expect him to bounce back very well here. From the bullpen standpoint, Detroit is not in the greatest of shapes. As you mentioned, they did have to use the guys yesterday in the same situation. So Holton's pitched the last 2 days, only 23 total pitches. So I think everybody will be available in this one. And when you take a look at the opposing pitcher here, Freddie Peralta, I believe on the season, he's like at a 46 or 48, which is below league average. But since he's come over to Tampa Bay, he's been a little bit better. His first start he went, and I believe it was in Colorado. He got bombed. I don't think they had a chance to really work with him at that point. But since that point, he's been a little bit better. He's been about a 50, so that's league average. So they're trying to find something with him. He's pitching a little bit better, and you would expect that because Tampa Bay does wonders like Milwaukee does, and with developing the pitchers. So I would expect him to pitch a little bit better here. We're looking at the total is 7.5, pretty much across the board. And Detroit's about a 115. I do like Detroit here. I kind of like the under because I think Peralta will pitch a little bit better in this one. Just 2 ways I'm looking at this one. It is the first game on the board today for time-wise. And so if you want to get into that, I'm either looking to play Detroit, the under, or maybe Tampa Bay team total under.
Yeah, I really want to play the Tigers here as well. The problem, I think the only thing keeping me off the Tigers is the fact that, like Brian, pretty much what you just said, Freddie Peralta potentially turning a corner. He's had some bad starts. I've played against him successfully a couple of times. Last time out, I cashed against Peralta, but he managed to last 7 innings in that game. He did give up 5 runs, but listen, 5 runs over 7 innings, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. It's pretty good in my opinion. That's not a bad start, really. If you can last 7 and keep your team in the game, that's a respectable start. So I think for me, that's my only concern. Again, I don't even know if it's I may play the Tigers here. I'm going to see how the next hour or two go. Maybe see what they do for a lineup. Always prefer how the Tigers stack up against a right-handed pitcher as opposed to a left-handed pitcher. And the last thing I'll say, Troy Melton, if he was on the Yankees or the Red Sox, would be a household name at this point.
Yeah.
If he was doing what he's done since being called up for the Tigers, on a big time, big market team, everyone would know who this dude is. Yeah. I think he's flown a little bit under the radar. His numbers are tremendous. He is the better of the 2 pitchers. Even if Peralta pitches good, I still think you get the better with Melton. So yeah, I like the Tigers here as well. And that is not going to make our pal Freebird happy. I know that because he's hitting us with that sick throwback Rays logo, an all-time logo. Love that. I love that they still bring that out every once in a while. I love that Durham, the AAA team for the Rays, has incorporated that into their jerseys. They wear a Durham Bulls jersey in the old Rays style. Very cool. Freebird says, good morning, gentlemen. Do we see a flip today where teams that were favorites yesterday, like the Rays, Twins, Dodgers, and Brewers, win today? So Tokyo Brandon, I'll go to you. Maybe a little bit of a sore subject, but again, I would have blown our parlay anyway, so don't worry about it. The Brewers yesterday, it was a good game. That's the type of game they typically win, but the Mets continue to kind of just play good baseball, scrappy, and they end up getting the walk-off winner in a game that I guess they did lead for most of the time. So Freebird's question to you, we'll do it in the context of that Brewers-Mets game. Do you think Milwaukee bounces back here?
So I don't put too much stock in who was favored yesterday and if they're going to bounce back. What I do put stock in is who's winning the series and what the series looks like right now. I don't really care who was favored and who covered yesterday. So I never really ever looked at that. I was kind of surprised the Brewers lost because they're a much better team. And Robert Stock coming over from Doosan in Korea, not looking great. Got him ranked 21 on a scale of 30, but Dustin May, I've got him ranked 17, not much better. Both bullpens, elite. Elite might be overstating it. They're very good. I got them both ranked 6. And batting, I've got the Brewers slightly ahead of the Mets, but the Mets are actually hitting quite well right now. That was kind of a sore spot for them earlier in the season. They couldn't produce any runs. They're ranked 13 right now, where I got the Brewers ranked 11. So, if you trust Dustin May, I think Brewers are the right side here. He's hard to trust sometimes. He's pitched a little better since he's been in Milwaukee, but he is 6-8 with a 4.57 ERA. Still, my numbers like him a lot better than they like Robert Stock. So yeah, it'd be Brewers or nothing for me today.
When you said, I thought you were setting up the Robert Stock reference when you said, I can't put stock into this. It was right there for you. Brian, are you putting any stock into Robert Stock this afternoon?
Yeah, he's a terrible straight man here. But I
missed it.
If you're looking at Milwaukee's played 3 of the last 4 games against lefties. In Milwaukee on the season against lefties is 95 WRC plus. They're 109 versus righties. It wouldn't surprise me if the Milwaukee bats pick up a little bit here. Stock is a guy that he's done okay. I'm just not a huge fan of him. Problem is, do I really want to lay 150 up to 160 for Milwaukee? I don't think so. The Mets have been hitting pretty well as of late. And let me look at the team totals here. The Mets are sitting there. Well, there's a 4 out there at Circuit, but most places it's under 3.5 minus 130 or so. I don't know if I'm going to get there with that, but that's the way I would look at it. I would look to try to fade the Milwaukee bats a little bit. Let me get a quick look at the Mets bats. We'll get a quick look at the Milwaukee team total. 4.5 minus 115 to the under. So they'd have to score 5 runs for me to get this victory. I think Milwaukee will hit a little bit today. Yeah, I guess slightly to the over on team total, but I'd love to play Milwaukee. I just can't find myself to lay that kind of number on the road, especially against a team in the Mets who are playing with a confidence they haven't had earlier in the season.
They're playing with the confidence they haven't had. They're playing like with nothing to lose. They're the Mets finding their way back into the race somehow is a pipe dream. They're just going out and just playing every day, playing ball. It's the fact that it's now obviously like if Soto was there, they'd be a better team. But the fact that like he's not there and some of the veterans maybe aren't there, it's kind of let the younger guys like take over this team, the Carson Benches, AJ Ewings, so on and so forth. Yes, you still have Lindor, you still have your share of veterans, but I feel like the younger guys are sort of running the show right now for them. And it's got them playing with the best energy they've played with all year. Like, here's another way I'll put this. Like, yesterday was in my opinion, a much better spot to bet the Brewers at roughly the same price as today. So it's like yesterday, at least you got Kyle Harrison. Here, it's a relatively even matchup, and you could theoretically just run it back with Mets plus 1.5, take the run at minus 125, or take a nice plus price. I don't think that they're in a worse position than they were yesterday. They found a way to win. And the final thing I'll say about the Mets is a lot of bullpen depth right now. That's the one thing that they've been able to do, moving Kodai Senga into a closer relief role, the emergence of Daniel Duarte. Suddenly they have all these good bullpen arms. And so even when they use a couple, they still have a bunch of them the next day. So yeah, I would play the Mets here in some fashion. I think they continue to play well. I may use this for the parlay on the plus 1.5, but I'm going to see what else pops up. But yeah, I lean toward the Mets here pretty strong. All right, let's go back to the chat. Alex Rand, can we talk Phillies Mariners? Who could have seen this coming? The Phillies 9 wins in a row, Brian. And tremendous, crazy walk-off win to close out the series against the Cardinals. And then nothing will cool you off quicker than a cross-country flight to play a road series in Seattle. That seems to be what has happened to this point. But now the Phillies are looking at potentially being swept. Do you think the Phillies bounce back in this spot today?
It's funny you mentioned, did anybody see this coming? Well, I go in every day and read the comments on the YouTube analysis. And there's a lot of hatred of our love for Seattle coming into that series. And I said, oh, they're going to be swept. Well, it may be the Phillies that get swept in this series. Any team that has the talent like a Seattle has the ability to turn it on at any time if they get hot. And it's been a while. So I think we all had a pretty good idea that they'd be very competitive in the series. You mentioned the travel situation. That first game was a terrible spot for Philadelphia. Luzardo, the lefty, going against Wu. Wu is, although he's pitched a little bit better on the road lately, he's been very good at home over the years, extremely good at home. And you're getting him at plus money in this ballpark. You can get as high as, plus 117s I'm seeing out there, plus 120s a couple places. That's something that has to pique your interest. And plus, your total is either 7 to the under or 6.5 to the over. So if I'm playing this one, I may be interested. Let's see what the spread is on this. We're looking at Seattle plus 1.5 in the minus 155 to 165 range. That's not a bad bet. I don't think if you get the reverse, go where you get Philadelphia plus 1.5. I wouldn't have any fault with that either. I think this one goes down to the wire. and with the total of 6.5, I can't bet that under. But I would expect both these teams to have a good well pitched game here, and maybe catching the 1.5 isn't a bad deal. I'm like you. I don't like to lay the higher numbers in that regard, but I have a hard time seeing either one of these teams winning this game by multiple runs.
Tokyo Brandon, it is your guy, Jesus, on the mound for the Phillies. I will, I guess, I'm going to come with a bunch of pro Mariners takes in a second, but I guess my one Phillies take would be, like, this is certainly, in my opinion, the best pitching setup that the Phillies have had all series. Best, I think he's their strongest starter, and now you're going to get, the bullpen stacking up the way you would want it. So the question to you is, do you want the Phillies here?
Yeah, again, guys, I have a 5% play up today. You can get a double play, 2 of us 3 for 3 days, all access baseball. It's a great deal. And there are several other deals at wagertalk.com. So go take a look at those and grab my 5%. Looking at this, Woo has pretty bad numbers on the road, but pretty good numbers at home. And if you look at how he's pitched against these Phillies in his career, it's pretty mind-blowing numbers, but only 30 at-bats against. But he's got a 167 average against and a 385 OPS, 400 points better than the average. I mean, Philly's going to have a very difficult time scoring in the first 5 innings of this game, in my opinion. But I think Seattle will too, because as Peter Brady said, Mom always said, don't bet against Jesus. No, he said don't play ball in the house. But anyways, I like Jesus Luzardo a lot. I got him top 10 pitcher in MLB, and that's not on a curve. That's out of 220 guys. So he is dealing right now. I've liked him since he played with Miami. I think he'll be able to hold these down. My numbers say Philadelphia has an advantage at every turn, but I think Woo's just overwhelmingly wonderful numbers against these batters is going to be a factor here. So I think first 5 under 3.5 would be the play. I see it for minus 104. Is that right? I see it under 3 at plus 110.
I'm saying
that's what I'm saying.
3.5 to the under is basically minus 105. Plus 100 to minus 105, yeah.
I'll make that my parlay leg. I don't think either one of these teams are scoring in the first 5 very much, let alone 4 runs between the two of them. So give me Seattle, Philadelphia, first 5 under.
Brian, what's that again?
Minus 105. I did see the team totals in the first half for both 1.5. So I was hoping one of them would be a 2. And I could come in and play the team total under. That way you'd have to give up 3 runs to lose. But, I don't see a lot of runs being scored here. And unfortunately, the lines maker sees that also.
Brian, what is the number? What's the total? Sorry. First 5 under what?
3.5.
3.5. And then you said that's minus 105?
Minus 105, I believe. Let me take another quick look. Yeah, I'm seeing 3.5. There's actually make it plus 100. And I think that's more indicative of it. Save yourself 5 cents juice. I'm seeing some places where you can actually get plus 105. So
yeah, there we go. Shop around as always. Listen, as someone that does a lot of driving around the country, going to games, one of my biggest fears is falling asleep at the wheel. I'm very conscious of that, and you know what? FanDuel right now, asleep at the wheel, in my opinion. They haven't moved the Mariners numbers much at all. I mean, they've moved them a little bit. So when I gave them out in the show a couple days ago, 40-1 at FanDuel, 15-1 to win the AL. They've ticked it down. I think you can still get 35-1 at FanDuel and like 13-1 to win the American League. That's better than most of the other places. That's still playable, in my opinion. Go look at what the Mariners' September schedule looks like and tell me that this Mariners team, not only are they going to be in the playoffs, Our 5-1, I forget, I think it was R. Reynolds who gave out the 5-1, and I hopped on it with him on the Astros to win that division, is likely in jeopardy. I think the Mariners, honestly, I don't know if there's enough value to play the division, but I think the Mariners will be in the playoffs one way or the other. And listen, like, this was my number one power rated team coming into the season in the American League. I'm not saying that they'll be number one going into the playoffs from a power rating perspective, but it's like, they're certainly going to be in the mix. And if you can get 13-1 and 30 and still get 35 or 40-1 on them to win the World Series and the AL respectively, with the pitching that they have, the upside of, like, let's just say Cal Raleigh right now, who has like rediscovered how to hit in the past couple of days. Let's say this is legit somehow, and he keeps this going, right? And all of a sudden he's hot, and all of a sudden a Rosarena is going to hit. And what if Cade Anderson ends up just being like a generational talent, like he's getting touted up to be? And suddenly you got that Mariners team in a 7-game series in the playoffs. Can't be 40-1. Can't be 35-1. Should be much lower. That's how I'll end this segment, because TB already gave out a play. I still think there's time for you to jump on Mariners futures. And the hard part of their schedule is almost over. Cubbies, Phillies. Once it gets to next month, it's all Angels, A's, Rockies, 2-game series at home against the Astros. Very, very easy. So take a look at that.
Very easy.
Yeah, Mark, listen, here's the thing. He says, to date, you have suggested to bet like all these things. I don't grade my futures. I'm not betting them like I bet day-to-day stuff. So it's like, they're going to be like a 40-1 shot, like, you know, some longer shots. That being said, on our very first show of the year, I talked about some season win totals that are all going to hit. White Sox over, you know, and again, these are not something I grade, but I will share one that I'm betting on the show. So it's like, it's up to you to like try to make money with those. Like, I think, listen, if the Astros win that division and that hits 5-1, the Marlins could still make the playoffs, a little bit of outside shot. So again, like, yeah, I understand that they could lose, but I'm still going to be in a fine situation. And again, they're not client plays. I'm just giving them out here. If you like a futures portfolio. So I'll let you know how they end up. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, we're looking to create value, find value here. So there are going to be a lot of long shots, and a lot of those places like the DraftKings and the FanDuels that are out forever around the country. There's a lot of people that are uneducated bettors that will never bet those games. Not that they don't have value, but so you're always getting a better payout at those places. And was it last year or was it 2 years ago, or Detroit was running away with the division? Cleveland goes on a great streak at the end of the year, wins the division. What were the odds on Cleveland at that point? So
right,
it happens. It does happen. It doesn't happen very often, or you wouldn't be getting 40-1. But these teams, if you have the talent, you can put on a streak. Look at Kansas City Royals. We've written them off. They've won 9 straight games. So it happens. That's baseball.
Yeah, I'll let you know how they end up. Like I said, these are just something I'm just sharing. If you find value in them and you think, if you disagree, then don't bet it. I mean, it's that easy. Brian, Choppa X Showpacks, I don't know, could be either, says, love the show and happy anniversary. Yep, WagerTalk turned 12 the other day. Brian, one of the OGs, one of the original day one of the WagerTalk site. Yep. And so shout out to you for still being here as a day one person, because there's been a lot of turnover over the years. And do you have a leg of the parlay that you want to share with the people?
I do. I'm going to go to the south side and I'll take a look at the Texas-Chicago White Sox game. Gore, the lefty, going for Texas. Burke, the righty, for the White Sox. We're looking at anywhere here from 122 to 135 in the line. I'm seeing a lot of 128. Let's go 128, and I'll play Chicago here, minus 128. If you look at what these teams have done all year, you've mentioned many times that you think Texas is basically an average team. They are 1 game under 500 on the year. They've been outscored by 41 runs. They are 25-32 against winning teams, which is a terrible number, but on the road, 30-38. The White Sox, 6 games over 500 right now. They've outscored the opposition by 38 runs. Their expected win loss is 70. They're 70 and 62 compared to expected of Texas at 62 and 71. And the White Sox have been really good at home this year, 40 and 27. So you look at all that, you say, well, they must have the lesser pitcher today. I'm not so sure they do. Gore is very inconsistent, and that's not somebody I'm looking to play on the road. Burke, yeah, he's had his times this year where he's fallen off the cart, but he just keeps getting back on that horse or the golf cart, and it continues on, and he's been pretty good. So you got the better team playing at home in what I consider a positive pitching situation, and you're only laying 125 here. So I thought the line was probably going to be closer to 135, 140. So, yeah, I'll play the White Sox here.
I'll tell you what, just to go back to the last comment real quick, the Rangers winning the AL West would be bad for your boy here. So we need that to not have, that would blow me up pretty good. So yeah, we need the Rangers to get out of that top spot. We don't want them winning the AL West. Tokyo Brandon, I have said, as Brian mentioned, that I do feel like they're a very average team. It doesn't that's not necessarily like a knock on them. I just think like they're just a 500 ball club. They're pretty good everywhere, but they're not exceptional at anything. I wouldn't be surprised if they ended the year 81 and 81 or like 80 and 8. It's something like that. They're just an average baseball team. Whereas the White Sox, like up and down, they can be a little bit hot and cold, but like to me, like this is like a pretty solid team. And if they can avoid like just like having like the sort of like we forgot how to win phase over the next 3 or 4 weeks, I do think they'll probably win this Central Division. CJW, those Bulls City Connect jerseys are Friday nights at home for the White Sox. It's a phenomenal jersey. Friday nights at home. Yeah. So they won't be wearing them today. But White Sox Rangers to you, TB, how do you see this one?
So this is not my 5% play, but Mackenzie Gore has one of the biggest discrepancies between home and away. At home, he's almost elite. In away, he's 5+ ERA. So agree with Brian. He's very Jekyll and Hyde kind of pitcher, which is weird because he's traveled to so many different teams. You know, you would think everywhere would be away for him because he's never really settled down anywhere. But anyways, yeah, I like the White Sox here too. In hitting, I have them 7 points ranked higher than Texas. And like you said, Adam, Texas is kind of the epitome of just, you know, mediocre. They just are. They're okay at everything. Their bullpen showing some life, but you know, if you're not winning the game, your bullpen doesn't really matter. Burke has great command and control. He's only walking 26% of the guys he's striking out. That's an excellent number. I got him ranked 12 on a scale of 30. So maybe sample size is a little small. Oh, no, not really. So he's performing quite well. His expected numbers are quite well as well. So I would feel comfortable backing the White Sox today as well. Don't know if I will or not, but that's how I would go.
And the thing with Mackenzie Gore, I mean, so hot and cold. Like when you get the good version of him, I mean, he comes in 6-7 shutout innings. He looks like the ace I always expected him to be. But like if you get the bad version, it can be the legitimate exact opposite. So I found his games very challenging to get involved in because there is that upside there, but he's been so inconsistent, not just this year, but like for most of his career. Brian, what is exactly your play again on this one?
I will use the Chicago White Sox full game, and let's go minus 125. I'd say that's the average. I'm seeing 22s up to 30 right now, so something in the 25 range.
I watched a lot of that White Sox Mets series this weekend too, and it's just like you gotta love the vibe of the White Sox. Like they look like they're having fun. Even in games where they're trailing, it's like there's no hang in the head, there's no quit. That's just the kind of team that's if they can like harness that energy for the rest of the way, Like they will win that division. Like they'll win it by multiple games. Like again, that's sort of like, it's a division that someone could get back into because none of these teams are like great. But like if the White Sox really just took off and ran away with that Central, I wouldn't be surprised with that either. So very interesting game though, and I hope they win today for you, Brian, and for our parlay. That's one they've already won enough for the win total though. Win totals cash. So you want to talk about futures plays that I've personally made. White Sox win total over. I believe that we talked about that on our very first show of the year. Coming into the year, a lot of people were still down on them. I said they'd had a chance. That's something I wish I bet. I wish I took the White Sox to win the Central because I mentioned it and I didn't bet it. So at any rate, Alex ran. So I still need to lock in my parlay leg, but it's going to be something we've talked about. So we will talk about his game right here. He says, can we talk about the Royals? I suppose we should. Brian, 9 straight wins for the Royals. How about that? The Royals have won 9 straight games, and they're still not in the AL Central race somehow. Like, to put in perspective just how far they were off the pace. But they're trying to play spoiler against the Blue Jays right now. I believe we've got Randy Dobnak, second coming of Sandy Koufax all of a sudden, and probably a bullpen game for the Jays where they open maybe with Spencer Miles and then piggyback them with everyone's favorite Simeon Woods Richardson. So a pitching matchup that I thought I would see in a Storm Chasers Bisons game, but it's going to happen at the big league level. Brian Leonard, start us off here.
How often do you find a team on a 9-game winning streak in this price range? Randy Dobnak of 2026, nobody believes in. I except for maybe me. I don't know. But, they're acting like it's the rest of the career, Randy Dobnak. Miles getting the start. It will be a bullpen game for Toronto. Toronto's about a 135 favorite here. Total 8.5 over 9. 8.5 over 9 under. You got Kansas City's not that good, so you wouldn't expect it to continue. And obviously, whoever's bet into this line so far doesn't think it would continue. But I'm usually the guy who finds value in breaking streaks. I'm finding value on the streaking team here. Kansas City is playing very well right now. Toronto also has played very well since the All-Star break, and they're starting to get it together now too. But I can't leave this number with Toronto in a bullpen game. You've got to hope just about everybody out of the bullpen is good because somebody comes in and they're not good, and then all of a sudden it blows up on you. So yeah, I'm looking to take I'm seeing upwards of 130 right now with Dobnak, and I just feel strange to want to be on a team that is on a big winning streak, and but that's the way I would play it.
Tokyo Brandon, the Royals didn't have the preseason win projection that the Mets did, but like in many ways, they are the AL version of the Mets right now. There was a lot of people coming into the season that thought the Royals were the team to beat in this division. Like they were a very popular pick preseason to win this AL Central. They obviously were way off of the mark there. But, we go back. I continue to go back to one of our first shows. You had made the point, hey, the Royals have a ton of people that played in the World Baseball Classic. It might derail them in the early part of the season. Of course, you've had injuries over the course of the year to Bobby Witt, some of the pitching. So, now it's, I guess, better late than never for the Royals playing good ball, but they're playing good ball. How do you factor that into this game today?
Yeah, so Dobnak, great ERA, but his whip is a little alarming. So it tells me he's putting guys on base, getting kind of lucky. Only 45 innings pitched this season so far. So I'm not going to get too carried away with his numbers. And he generally, let's see, the deepest he's gone is 5 point. Oh, he actually had a 7-inning game way back in July. So he can go a little deep, but generally you can expect him to go about 5 innings. That's not good news for the bullpen because this Royals bullpen is pretty bad. But aside from the bullpen, I think the Royals dominate every other aspect of this game. I would feel more comfortable betting them first 5 rather than full game, just because of that bullpen. And I don't think Dobnak is like one of those warriors who's going to go 7 innings every time, although he did it against the Twins about a month ago. But I'd say first 5 for the Royals. I think they're the better play. And if you can get a plus half run, I think the wrong team's favored here, actually. It seems odd that the Blue Jays are favored. They only have 5 more wins. It's not like they're, world beaters or anything. Their bullpen is average. I think Kansas City will be able to score some runs. First 5 plus the half run, I think, would be the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, right. If I phrased it, what if I framed it like this to you, Tokyo Brandon? Simeon Woods Richardson is essentially a favorite here against the Royals because he's probably the one that's going to get the bulk after Miles. Like it's going to be someone
he's
like
awful.
that. So yeah,
he's awful.
Yeah, and bullpen. He's been good out of the bullpen since they've gotten him.
And listen, Dobnak's been good in a small sample at the big league level this year too, but it's still Randy Dobnak. I'm looking at that 8.5 over, thinking that that's probably a little low. The Blue Jays are much better against right-handed pitching. You made a great point. The Royals bullpen's a little bit fried right now, and not great when they're at full strength. So I would go over just because I don't really want to pick one of those. I don't want either of those teams really in this setup. So I think I'd go over.
Yeah, I like that actually. Come to think of it.
I do need to pick a parlay piece, but I want to get some of these comments up first. Freebird says, thanks for all of our great advice and information. What are our best team total plays today? So in 30 seconds or less, TV, fire out a team total. We'll go around the horn for Freebird.
Give me Washington's team total over. They're facing Gordon. He's a gas can, and this Rockies bullpen has been playing awful. Washington went into a little lull after the All-Star break, but they seem to be back now, even though they traded away some of their good players. Abrams, one of my favorite MLB players to watch. I think Washington over, even if it's 4.5. I think they're going to score 5 here.
Brian, do you have a team total real quick for Freebird?
Yeah, I'll go with the Milwaukee over 4.5 at -110.
I'll just go back to the game we just talked about. I think you could pick Royals or Blue Jays. I think both of them probably go over. I like their setup to score runs today, and you're not really being asked to get like an astronomical, number of runs right there. Royals team total over is 3.5, and they're on the road. They're getting all 9 at bat. So that's the way I would go. The way I'm going to go in the parlay, I'm going to go back to one of the games we've already talked about. I'm going to use the Tigers on the money line. Brian, what am I looking at for Tigers money line?
Detroit right now looks to be about a 113.
Yeah, I really like Troy Melton, and I think that they can. AJ Hinch can get creative enough after him with the pen, where I think they'll have the upper hand in that game. If I do add that specific one for clients, I will 100% put that up for free. It'll be on my free page. I'll probably tweet it because that is an early game. I'm going to wait and see lineups there most likely, but that's one I'm definitely considering. So I'll use it for the parlay. Real quick bets, beverages. Shout out to you for the donation. He says 9/29, September 29th, MLB wildcard and NHL opening day. Bryan Leonard Super Bowl. He says right there. Yeah, and if you get, there's long-term packages up on the site where you can make sure that you're on Bryan Leonard on September 29th. Actually, right now, I think we have a monthly special and some longer-term specials that would take you right through the end of September, even the end of October. I will quickly promote my NFL coupon that they've made me. NFL 100 gets you $100 off my entire NFL season. It also they're going to throw in the final week of the preseason. 4-1 in the NFL preseason. So if you jumped on that package, we're going to make money because I'm not going to, I won't have enough plays to put us in the negative in the final week of the preseason. So, but I will likely play at least one, probably 2 things this coming week. And if you use the coupon code NFL100 on the full season for football, you're going to get the final week of the preseason as well. I think I was like plus 35 units across college and pro football last year. And the majority of that was in the NFL. I think 26 units on the NFL season last year. Okay. 4%, 5% play for Tokyo Brandon, correct? 5% for TV
yes,
tonight.
And let me tout my horn real quick. I passed Hakeem. I'm number one now at plus 144 on the season. So go.
That's incredible.
Go.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Knock
Shout
on
out our
wood.
guy Ralph Michaels is up like 70 units in Major League Baseball. Really, really tough. I mean, I'm up in baseball too, but 70 units in MLB, that market specifically is incredible. Really tough to beat. So shout out to him. Bryan Leonard, do you have anything up on the site before we sign off?
I don't as of yet. I don't think I'm going to have any big plays, but I do like 5 games. So I'm going to be checking those out. And in the next hour or so, I'll be putting those up. So, and I'll try to give it a discounted package so everybody can pick up all 5 plays for a smaller amount.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. I've got a couple of, I've got 3 or 4 that I really like, and I'm going to kind of see what materializes throughout the day. I'll also be playing AAA because, it's just there's stuff like Worcester where they're putting out a big league lineup and the books are going to put up minus 110. Always blows my mind that, and that was up for hours. I couldn't believe that. But anyway, if you got my all access, you would have known that, and you would have cashed easily on the Woo Sox yesterday. The parlay of the day, Bryan Leonard's going White Sox on the money line, minus 125, full game. I'm going to go Tigers on the money line, minus 113, full game. And Tokyo Brandon's going with a first 5 total. He's got first 5 under 3.5 at even money in Mariners Phillies. So we're going Tigers money line, White Sox money line, and then TB is going Mariners Phillies first 5 under 3.5. That is your 3-teamer for today. And the 3 of us will be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And on Saturday, as Tokyo Brandon said, we're moving to 9 a.m. So football can have the 10 o'clock slot. So 9 a.m. the rest of the week. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.